Hello, everybody, and welcome to another cup of self-empowerment to trust, heal, and be thyself. I'm absolutely delighted to introduce this wonderful person into our coffee hub, into our cuppa hub today, who's going to be taking us on a really lovely journey and insight to their personal journey as well. So I'd like to welcome you to Amy. Amy, for those who don't know, is a passionate entrepreneur, a certified breathwork facilitator, a breakthrough coach, and certified in Reiki as well. She is here to educate, inspire, and help others break free, transform their lives, grow, and align with purpose through her breathwork events, private breathwork sessions, coaching, and transformational programs. Amy is based in Rhode Island in the US and travels the whole entire US, holding transformational events, retreats, and workshops. And she also does private sessions at the Soul Sanctuary, which is based in Rhode Island. And she also offers these virtually. So she's basically open up to everybody around the world, which is really, really necessary at this time. So welcome, Amy. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for this. I haven't seen you in so long.
It's nice that we get to connect over a cuppa. That's really, really cool. So for those of you, our viewers who are watching today, we all have that journey. What we have is, basically our life is our journey, basically. And, whether you're going on a spiritual walk or whatever avenue you're taking on your path forward, how did you personally, start your journey on trusting thyself?
So it's definitely not been a straight line. It's been a lot of up and down and up and down. And I think I always like tinged into starting my journey at different points in life, but I was at a super, super, super low point. Like just I didn't even know I was like at a dark night of the soul. I didn't even know what that meant.
Yeah.
And I was at this just it's probably like 8, 10 years ago now. And I was just so
Wow.
low. I was fatigued. My health was just not good. And it was just a lot of stuff. And I just kept seeking the I kept seeking fitness. But then I was more tired. I kept seeking good food. It didn't really work. And I just kept feeling this like chronic like fatigue feeling. And
Okay.
I ended up figuring out what it was. For the past 3 years now, I feel alive. And part of that journey was breath work,
Yeah.
in combination with something else.
Of course, yeah.
And yeah, like I feel really great right now. But like if I go back 8, 10 years ago, I was just at this like really low point and couldn't figure it out. And little by little, I started just doing things for myself.
Yeah.
I remember I would ask friends, family to go to different sound healing and gong baths, like
Oh,
8 minutes
nice.
from my house. This was probably like 2017, 2018. And no one would go the nights I wanted to go. So I was like, okay, I'm going by myself. And I think that like pinpoint kind of started this like this journey. And then I would travel for work and I found some amazing sound healers in South Carolina and Charleston on a work trip. So again, I just find an
Wow.
event, go solo, um, and just kind of like trusting in what you feel called to do. It's
Yeah.
kind of how I started my journey.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's great that you were like, you managed to incorporate that like bit by bit on you, into your corporate life, when you knew that
yeah,
you were traveling, that you could actually, you were being guided, you were letting yourself, you were
yeah.
following your intuition basically to see what
Yeah.
you needed. Oh, that's really
It was
good.
either like sit in my hotel room because I was traveling different places 1 to 2 weeks at a time, and it was like, all right, being by myself, either sit by myself in my hotel room and not do anything, or
Yeah.
just like go out and experience and do
That's
something that I
really
was
cool
called
to
to.
actually go and do a sound healings like
Yeah,
as well. That's just, I love sound healing. I think it's incredible.
yeah,
I would have come with you if I were there. I would have
yes.
joined you
See?
completely, utterly. Oh, I love
Yeah.
it. So, we've got here in your bio that you also do Reiki as well. So I guess you started trusting those breadcrumbs, letting your intuition guide you forward.
Hmm.
So, you were saying you were dealing with chronic fatigue and you were looking for ways to help release that, basically, to get
Yeah.
past that. So did you actually probably start trying to like heal yourself as well? Didn't you, going down that direction of trying to heal or trying to see what you could improve,
Yeah, so I definitely 1,000,000% was, but I ended up finding out that when I was really young, I ended up getting breast implants. I was 19,
Okay.
no, 20 years old, 20 years old.
Okay.
So 16 years was chronic fatigue, chronic fatigue, chronic fatigue, chronic fatigue.
Oh,
And throughout my journey,
yeah.
um, I realized probably 3 years before I got them out, I ended up getting them
I
out. It
was
was
going
the
to say, was it
scariest.
because of that?
Yep, it was the scariest decision of my life. And I am so thankful that I did, because I am a totally different person. I feel like 16 years of my life was kind of like running on, like, the Energizer Bunny. I
Yes.
was running down here on like a 1% battery, and
Okay.
now I'm running up here. So I think
Wow.
part of my healing journey was, number one, healing my body, like
Yeah.
figuring that one piece out.
Well, exactly. That's not, you're not going to automatically think that's going to be the cause of it, are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's because, like, and again, this is just my story. Not everyone that
No,
has
thank you so
implants
much for being so
go,
honest. Appreciate
yeah,
it.
go.
Really.
Not everyone goes through the same thing, but it's just
Yeah.
my personal journey, and like getting them out, just like I feel amazing now, and I wish I never got them in. So I like to be like
Okay.
the advocate if anyone's going through like weird health things that
Yeah.
they don't know what it's from, and just
Mm.
do a little bit of research on that.
Mm.
Um,
So what
but
led you
yeah,
to think it could be the breast implants?
believe it or not, my aunt at Thanksgiving goes, "When are you going to get those things out?" I
Yeah.
saw an article, and she forwarded me this article, and that one article triggered like a crazy Google internet search.
Okay.
And it took me 3 years to do all my homework, research, whatnot.
Yeah, because it's another
So
operation, isn't it?
yeah. And believe it or not, in 2020, it was in April is when I went and got them out.
Wow.
And the doctor was like, "Oh, it might be canceled because like of
Oh
everything
yeah, of
going on
course.
in
What was everything was going
2020."
on? Yeah, 2020 was that year. Yeah.
But luckily, did it no problems. And yeah, I would have never, I basically would have never not done it. Like if
Yeah.
they would have said I'm canceling it, I would have rebooked it.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, it was an interesting time. And the month before I had that surgery was the first time I practiced breath work.
Wow.
And I had this first, and it was virtual, of course, because of the time period.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, what is this really going to do for me? I'm laying in my office on my floor, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to go with it. That first virtual breathwork session I did, I was like, it knocked my socks off, and I was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I need more of this in my life. Number one, and number two, I need to like teach others like
Wow.
how to do it. So it was like that. It was like 3 months after I had like the whole surgery, because obviously
That's
I couldn't
incredible.
practice breath work right after surgery.
Well,
Um,
yeah.
I I jumped right back into it, did it for a year, and then ended up like getting certified the following
That's
year.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
So I feel like those two things were really like this in part of my
Mm.
healing journey.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. That definitely sounds like that was, that would be the point where you would say, look, this is who I'm going to be and this is what I need to do and stuff like that. Really, that calling within was basically that
Yeah.
alarm bell was getting loud and clear and saying, this way we're going to give you the tools so you can actually start healing yourself as
Yep.
well. So that was beautifully timed with the breath work.
Yeah.
It
I
really is.
almost feel like the breathwork piece, like I was on that healing part with the surgery, that the breath
Mm,
work was like the icing on the cake that just like
yes,
catapulted the healing journey. Like, because
definitely.
I just feel awake, alive, and just like so much lighter than I ever felt before.
Yeah, I can
So
imagine. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know anything about breath work, so maybe you'd like to
Yep.
explain a bit of breath work to our viewers, how it actually works. And, we always get told we need to connect to our breath, don't we?
Yeah.
And yeah, we all
Yeah.
forget and we all turn into shallow breathers because we're
There
just
you
like
go.
going 100 miles an hour. So
Yeah. So many of us, if you take a nice big deep breath in, most of us right up here,
yeah.
we're very shallow chest breathers. And if you like look at animals and whatnot, you'll watch their bellies actually go up and down when they breathe. So there are many types of breath work. Mine is a circular breath. It's done with the mouth open, so it's not like you're just sitting there going, it's a little bit intense,
Yeah.
but the work is worth it. It's all guided to music and my voice. So between my voice and music, I guide the entire breathwork journey.
Wow.
And it goes like some people, I've had people come and they weren't expecting really loud, like awesome music. They were
Yeah, I
thinking
can
like
imagine.
yoga, like super yoga music.
Uh-huh.
And they were definitely interested in the music selection, but it's all of it's especially curated depending on the theme and who I'm working with and like how I'm guiding it.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. It's done laying down too. So I know some breath works are done sitting up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's many,
I
many
suppose it's
different
nice
types.
with the laying down because I find, if you're laying down, you can really fall into
Yeah.
it. Is there a
And
chance
everyone wears eye masks too to go a little bit deeper
Oh,
into it. So like if you try to open your eyes, you're not getting
that's
distracted.
cool.
Yeah.
It's like proper little self-care going on there.
Yeah.
That's
I
nice.
know if I go to for massages and stuff, or like if I go for a Reiki appointment, I now bring my eye mask because it's such a
It's,
beautiful thing to like
that's
kind of
good. I
go
think
within.
that's a good tip to give to us all, actually,
Yes.
because yeah, that's great. So, you obviously you do Reiki as well. You're certified in Reiki as well. Was that before the breath work or after the breath work?
After
Yeah.
and I really just I was intrigued because like I would say the past like 3 years I've had different Reiki sessions where I participated in,
Yeah.
and something just called me to go learn
Yeah.
more about it.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't really incorporate too much Reiki in like my private clients. It's more breath work, but it's still that
Mm.
learning experience and learning for
Yeah, but
me.
it's holding the space as well, and like the energy of
Yep.
Reiki as well. It's good, even though you may not be intentionally incorporating it into your sessions. I'm
Yeah.
pretty certain that it's already being incorporated,
It's
that the
still
energy is already
absolutely,
there. Yeah, I completely
absolutely.
believe that totally.
Yep.
It's really interesting because a lot of people, when they start, myself included, when I started, when things started unraveling and I started following like my intuition and being guided, also, always comes from that point in time, unfortunately, for a lot of us when we're at a really, really low place or in
Mhm.
ourselves. So is a lot of the time Reiki or energy healing is the first kind of stop point, I find, for a lot of us. So it's really
Mhm.
interesting to see how the breath work kind of came in before the Reiki, which is
Yeah.
great. That is lovely.
And I think
Just
it like I didn't know what I was like that virtual session. I had no idea what I was in for, and then it
That's
was
like
just
how
like
my cash was. I was
boom,
like, oh, okay.
like knocked my socks off,
Yeah.
in a good way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. Cool. So, you started your journey interesting and then you followed it through, obviously, with your personal experience as well and the surgery and,
Mhm.
reversing that surgery basically and then incorporating the breath work. Would you say since then, obviously that's a few years back now since you had the surgery,
Mhm.
has there been recently a point where you would say, okay, this is what I do. This is, I am going to own it and, I'm going to embody this and I've got
Yes.
absolutely no problem sharing this to the whole world, basically. Anyone, they can think what they like. This is what I do and this is who I am. Is there a
Yep.
point recently where you'd say that's actually happened?
I would definitely say yes. Recently, someone had approached me for like a mentorship program,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, maybe I can recommend you to someone, but I'll get back to you within the next month. So I had to rewind back and be like, wait a second.
Yeah, it's something you can do.
I'm like, wait a second. I've been like doing breath work, doing large events, doing virtual events. It's
Mm,
been, I think, a year and a half now.
yeah.
So like that moment kind of went, okay, you're in it, you're doing it. And because sometimes we just feel like we're on autopilot.
A little bit, yeah,
That
definitely. We
makes
have those
sense.
moments where we forget that
Yeah.
we're not just using the tools for ourselves, that we can actually share these and, give them to
Yeah.
other people as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I took the step back and I started working with this person last month.
Oh,
So it's a
wow.
beautiful thing. So it's like taking that next step forward.
That's brilliant. So is that
Yeah.
breath working coaching then? Or is it kind of
Yep.
mixing all your
It's
toys?
kind of mixed mentorship
Yeah.
and breath work. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So
Yeah.
what advice could you give someone who's like, feeling a call to something, not quite sure what it is, or maybe even being called to breath work, what advice would you give someone on their personal journey, starting to trust and, be thyself, basically?
I would say if you're feeling called to something, embody it and practice it. Like
Mhm.
on my journey, there's long breathwork sessions. I did a year straight of breathwork,
Wow.
not missing a day, but
Wow.
it was maybe just 5 minutes in the morning.
Okay.
So it wasn't like my full hour long breathwork event that I do. I'd still incorporate those a few times a month.
Yeah.
But I would tell someone if they were interested in doing something and jumping into something that's kind of like sparking
Mm.
them, just kind of jump in and embody it, even if it's at like a small,
Yeah.
like my
Kind
five
of dip
minutes a
your
day of
toe in
breath
and
work.
see what it's like and see what it feels
Mhm.
like. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also go with intuition and go with your gut. If it's something that's really calling you,
Yeah.
explore it, learn, research, and
Yeah. And
I mean,
also,
go for
I
it.
guess it's like, I always find, how you feel before and how you feel afterwards. That's always a
Mhm.
great way to know if something's kind of like aligned, or, if you're clock watching while you're doing something, then it's not for you. If you're
Yeah.
like completely switched off and do not want it to end, then you're like, your
Yeah,
body, your soul is really calling for this, and you want to embody that more. Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. So you said your normal breath work session is about an hour. I know I'm
Yeah.
not at all an expert on breath work, and I'm going to
Yep.
be really honest. I have a lot of respect for people who do breath
Yep.
work because I find it really intense at times myself.
Yep. Yep.
And I think through the breath work, it really pulls up stuff you didn't think which was buried in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does. It does pull up stuff, and then like some people it pulls up stuff on, say they do one session, the next session it could be like I'm floating on a beach with turtles.
Yeah.
Like I've heard so many different
Oh,
experiences from breath
yeah.
work. So I think everyone really kind of has their own journey that they need at the time.
And it's also how
Yeah.
what that time is when they have it, actually. As you
Yeah.
said, one session is going to be completely different to the next session.
Hmm.
But what would you encourage, someone who may be a bit interested, who are definitely interested in breath work, but have that little bit of anxiety that they think they're not going to keep up? Because,
Yep.
obviously that can happen, that,
Yeah.
you can feel like, and then it might cause more anxiety because they're
Yep.
thinking, oh God, I'm not doing that. I'm not breathing deep. She's
Yeah.
saying we're supposed to feel that. We all feel something very unique. We know that. So what advice would you like
Yeah.
give them?
So I would say if it was just, say it was like a virtual breathwork session,
Mhm.
the beauty of that is you're in your own space.
Yeah.
You can put camera on, camera off.
Yeah.
And I always just recommend everyone to give their 100%.
Yeah.
All they're doing is breathing.
Yeah.
Um, and it's a specific breathing pattern. And then if it ever does get too intense, they're in charge of the journey.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
I suppose it's
And
like sometimes,
there's no wrong way of breathing. Like even
no,
if they're just laying there listening and they fall off of the active breath, they're still getting something from the breathwork journey.
definitely. I think,
Yeah.
some of us, me included, sometimes we
Mhm.
put a little bit too much pressure on ourselves and think,
Yeah.
oh my God, it's not, happening how it is. So it is good to know, to have that, permission to slip,
Yeah.
to say, you follow through and your body's going to do what your body needs it to do. And if it's like, if something becomes too intense,
Yep.
then it's okay to tune that down a little bit. And
Yep.
I guess equally, there's like probably, if someone was to do breath working, like regular breath working sessions with you, would you find that within time that increases the amount of time the session is, or was it always a fixed time?
I always have pretty much a fixed time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's normally about like 30 minutes of active breath and then 30 minutes of kind of just like a cool down. You're going back to your regular breath. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's kind of like a guided meditative
Yeah,
journey
that
with my
sounds
voice
lovely.
and
Yeah.
very like specific music too.
Yeah. Because you've also
Yeah,
mixed that with sound healing, haven't you, as well?
I have.
Oh.
So well, I've done it quite a few times, but recently I just did a beautiful one where I do the active breath part and then it flows right into a beautiful sound healing. and I get to experience the sound healing part.
Oh,
So like
yeah.
just with
That's
that,
nice
I'm
because
leaving
it's
like
marrying
floating.
the two things, what kind of
Mhm.
like that kind of brought it in for you as well.
Yeah. And
Oh,
then I
that's
did a beautiful one with a cacao ceremony as well.
oh wow.
Yeah. So it was start with the cacao ceremony, really like connecting to the heart and
Yeah.
whatnot. And then it flowed into breathwork
Wow.
event. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Oh, I wish I was nearer.
No, I know.
Wish I was nearer. So, if someone's watching us right now and thinking, you know what, I'm really liking the sound of this breath work. I'm really connecting to Amy. I'm really resonating with what she's saying. How can people connect with you or reach out to you? What's the best way of contact?
So it's easy. It's my name.
Okay,
Amy Chauvin on Instagram, or my website's Amy Chauvin too.
perfect,
Yep.
perfect. Yeah, and it's possible to do, virtual as well. So it doesn't matter where anyone
Yep.
is in the world.
Yep.
And even
I'm
if they're just
shooting
around the corner
for
and want to be in the privacy of their own home, that's also
yeah.
absolutely fine, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm shooting for once a month virtual, like a group virtual. And then
Yeah.
I also have one-on-one like private virtual sessions as well. And then of course all my random pop-up events that I
Yeah,
have
that's
been doing.
great. And they're listed
Yeah.
on your website, your pop-ups, is that right? Or on Instagram?
Hmm.
Okay,
Yep. On
excellent.
both. There's a link that clicks to them. Yeah.
Perfect. That sounds really, really good. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. That's just been really nice because I don't know too much about breathwork myself. And I'm sure there's people out there who have heard about it or know it well or don't know it so well. And I'm sure everybody also does it very differently. So it's nice to have
Mhm.
your spin on it and how you do it. And really for you to share how it led to because it's very personal what you shared about your
Yeah.
operation as well. It's
Yeah.
that's you
Yep.
didn't have to share that, so I'm very grateful
Yeah.
that you did. Thank you.
Yeah. I think it's something important to share just in case like someone else out there is kind of going through the same thing. Um, but yeah,
Because it's
yeah, and
interesting,
then
that was obviously that what was giving you the fatigue, then I take it.
yeah,
Wow.
100%.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
incredible. You wouldn't,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, the body is a mysterious thing at
Yep.
times. It definitely tells us what it does and doesn't want, doesn't it? So,
Yep. Indeed.
oh.
It took a little bit too long to figure it out, but
Yeah,
I'm
but you
glad I
figured it
finally
out.
figured it
Yeah,
out.
I don't think you can put a cap on that, how long,
Yeah.
it takes as long as it takes. And
Yeah.
if you didn't have any discomfort, why would you think it would that? You wouldn't
Exactly.
think something was wrong if nothing was hurting or
I was like, is it an iron deficiency? Is it
yeah,
this?
I
I'd
can
be like,
imagine. Yeah.
I was at points where I was like taking like 10 supplements to try to like take
Gosh.
supplements to make myself feel better. And like nothing, like, yes, they're all great things to do,
Of course, yeah.
but it
Yeah.
just wasn't even like the
Not
working
what
out
you
thing.
needed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm really happy that I figured it out, and I'm officially 3 years since going through all of that. So that's another reason why I feel like I can
Yeah.
talk about it a little bit now.
Yeah, because you've embodied that, you've healed that for yourself, you've
Yeah.
digested everything what you needed to digest through that because that's also
Yep.
it's a huge development and learning curve for yourself, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
And to
Million
follow
percent.
through and to follow through on that trust as well, to think, okay,
Yeah.
I really wanted this. I went
Yeah.
and had this up to have it done, and now I'm
Yep.
thinking it's not like a sweater you can pick it up at the shop and say, ah, I didn't fit,
Yep.
I'll put it back tomorrow. It's it's
Yeah.
not
And it was the
feasible.
20-year-old self.
Yeah. Yeah. So you
So
also went back to like healing that 20-year-old self by doing all this, haven't you?
yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
haven't thought about it like that, but yes.
Yeah. You've given yourself compassion for that
Yep.
20-year-old Amy and said,
Yeah.
you done what you thought was right at the time. And
Yep.
that's fine. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a wrong decision. It was what you needed at that time. And
Indeed.
who knows, without that, maybe you might not have landed on the breathwork journey. You just don't know.
That is potentially true.
You just don't know. So there is never,
Yep.
we're always doing the best what we can at that moment in time.
Yeah.
Even if it's 5 minutes later, an hour later, a day later, a month later, a year, 10 years later, we think, why did I do that? Or,
Yeah.
we
Agreed.
can't. I know we all do this. We all start to beat ourselves up about it. But in theory, what you've just shared is a prime example. You done what you thought was great at that time for you.
Yeah.
And you were happy. It's not like you done it and went, oh my God, why did I do that? You were happy.
Yeah.
It's just like you didn't feel right for a while
Yeah.
afterwards. And then when you worked out why. No, I think that's really a really great takeaway
It was like that golden moment where it went chick.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Very
it's been a journey, but I'm so happy to be on like the path I am right now. Of like investing in myself, of learning a modality like breath work to be able to share with others. And it's been beautiful.
Yeah.
And to be like at like close to 100% like health wise compared to
That's
like how I
great.
felt on that low battery.
Oh yeah. And I think probably, I mean, I can imagine breathwork is also something which you've just weaved into your everyday life now. Even if it's not like, okay, I'm going to do breathwork session, it's probably just your system, your body's kind of like embodied it in such a way, and your mind as well, that it's all working as one, that you know when you need to slip into that, okay, I really need to focus on my breath work now.
And it's interesting you say that because it's almost like two part. It's my own breathwork experience,
Yeah.
like my own practice of it.
Yeah.
But then it also lights me up when I'm holding space for others and sharing it with others. So it's kind of like that two part. So it is definitely like woven into my life at this point.
Yeah. I feel that
Yeah.
too. I feel that with the work I do, it is actually that the same as, you know, it's there for yourself as well. And it becomes like kind of like your best friend, as it's like you, that's what you go to when you need something. And you're reminded, okay, I've got this within me. And it's nice that you can like share that with others and remind them that they too can have access to that within themselves, you know?
Yeah. There were 2 points in the last year where I was like on this like my daily practice, my like it was like part of my routine where like 2 points I got sick and I was just like, ugh, and I fell off my routine.
Yeah.
And when you fall off, or when I personally fall off,
Yeah, me too.
I can tell a difference in how I feel, like the stress levels and just like the energy level. Like when I do my breathwork practice, I'm like, ah. And when I fall off for like say a month and a half, all of a sudden, like I am not that same like full of life person. I'm the one doing road rage on my on my commutes.
All human, we all have our moments. No, but it's true because it is quite, you know, life is busy and we can always turn around and say, oh, I'll do that later. Oh, I'll do that later. Oh, okay, I'm not feeling it right now. I'll do it tomorrow. And it is like all that putting on to the tomorrow. I know, because I agree with what you say. If I fall off my wagon and like miss out, you know, even if it's like I make sure I'm doing something every day. Otherwise, if I'm not, even if it's the tiniest of tiniest of tininess, just something to keep myself anchored in. Because otherwise, if I fall off, I swell down.
Yep. It does like the snowball thing. And
Oh,
then it's like you have to
totally.
back up and you have to be
And then
like,
you're like, why am I feeling like this? And then you get yourself clear
and
again.
then,
You're like, I haven't been doing this.
yep.
Oh, I've been letting that go. I've been being too outside of myself and not inside of myself. And yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much for joining me today and having a
Thank
couple with me.
you.
And for those of you who want to connect with Amy, please reach out to Amy. Please experience a breathwork session with Amy. They are incredible. They are really powerful. And yeah, maybe there's like something in there for you as well, which would be really beautiful. And if you didn't quite catch anything, just reach out to me and I'll gladly put you in contact with Amy. Not a problem at all. And yeah, we wish you a beautiful rest of the day and yeah, evening, wherever you are in the world. And we look forward to welcoming you to another cup of self-empowerment very, very soon. So take care, everybody, and much love from us both. Bye-bye.
Bye.